Seid gegrüßt zu einer neuen Folge von Gabriel Knight 1. Ja, in der letzten Folge haben wir Hutridge besucht und seine gute Laune, seine richtige, sein Hochgefühl für diese Sache, die er für uns gemacht hat, die ist ihm sehr schnell vergangen, kann man so sagen. Tja, armer Hutridge.
Before leaving the university, Gabriel notifies campus security about Hutridge's body.
Das ist auch nicht verkehrt, das so zu machen. Gut, wo wollen wir als nächstes hin? Ich würde vorschlagen, wir statten Moonbeam einen Besuch ab. Das müsste ja jetzt gehen.
Welcome, Seeker. You must be the one Dr. John called me about.
I guess so. My name is...
Wait! Gabriel Knight.
You're too quick for me.
Actually, Dr. John told me. You have come to the right place, Mr. Knight. Tell me how I can help.
Ja, sie hat tatsächlich offen. Was haben wir denn da alles? Wir haben eine Schlange.
A large, sluggish snake rests on the floor of the fancy bird cage. Apparently, Magenta is not a fastidious housekeeper. A shed skin shares the cage with its original owner.
Okay, da haben wir noch Kristalle. Kristalle sind immer toll.
It's a large cluster of quartz crystals. Whatever they do, Gabriel isn't interested.
Was haben wir sonst noch? Ein Kristallball.
A large crystal ball is prominently displayed. It's not that easy to get a message from the crystal ball.
Eigentlich schade. Was haben wir sonst noch? Lampe, Maske, Flaschen. Das hier ist vielleicht ganz interessant. Was ist das?
There's a chest in the corner that looks like a carnival machine. It's impolite to mess with other people's stuff. Gabriel should wait until he's asked. Gabriel figures
Ja, okay.
Magenta Moonbeam is wrapped in gauze and silks. She looks vaguely mysterious and mysteriously vague.
Dann hätte ich vorgeschlagen,
Could I ask
reden
you
wir mit
a
ihr.
few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
Ziemlich viel zum Reden. Wir fangen mit den üblichen an.
Tell me about yourself.
Yes? What would you like to hear?
Business?
How did you get into this business?
I trained in the voodoo arts for many years with the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Who's she?
You have never heard of her? For shame. I can see you know little of the world of magic.
I'm beginning to get that impression, yes.
Über ihre Kunden?
What kind of people come to see you?
Seekers after the truth, such as yourself.
Do you do anything else?
I'm a voodooian. That is plenty. It takes much spiritual effort.
Okay.
How many voodooians are there?
No one knows exactly. Many practice in secret. There are probably hundreds. But of course, the level and the power of the voodooians differ greatly, depending on their training and natural gifts.
Tell me anything at all.
I haven't always lived in Nolans. I came here from Kansas as a young woman.
Tell me anything at all.
I began studying voodoo more than 20 years ago. I'm well versed in the magical arts.
Tell me anything at all.
Many non-believers come to me. They are usually believers when they leave.
Tell me anything at all.
Dr. John sends me many seekers, such as yourself.
Okay. Wahrscheinlich alle, die ja ein bisschen abwimmeln will vielleicht. Denen zu viele Fragen stellen? Keine Ahnung.
Tell me anything at all.
I am happy here with my clientele and my snake.
I can't think of anything.
Very well.
Gut, dann das übliche Plaudereien.
Dr. John tells me you're a voodoo practitioner of some kind.
Yes, I'm a voodoo-ian, a voodoo priestess.
Nice place you've got here.
Thank you. For me, it's a sort of temple.
I can see that. Do you get many people in here on an average day?
Some days, the need for my power is greater than others. But I have many regular clients who would be lost without my vision, Mr. Knight.
I can imagine. That's a great-looking mask on the wall.
It's from Africa. A gift to me from Queen Tabitha.
Do you know Dr. John well?
Oh, yes. We are old friends. Those with gifts are often drawn together.
Okay, also sie kennt ihn schon etwas besser.
So let's say I came to you wanting to attract a woman. What would you advise?
I wouldn't think you have any trouble attracting women, Mr. Knight.
No, I guess I don't. So what advice do you give your clients?
I tell them to follow the light, be aware of the darkness, and always get expert spiritual advice from someone with the sight.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Okay, das war's. Dann kommt als nächstes New Orleans.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is the center of voodoo practice in the United States.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
It is a fascinating city with many dark secrets.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
It is my favorite place in the world.
Gut. Dann fragen wir erstmal nach Schattenjäger. Da kannst du wahrscheinlich nichts dazu sagen.
Have you ever heard the word Schattenjäger?
I don't know anything about that.
War klar. Und dann fangen wir doch mal an mit den ganzen Sachen über Voodoo.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
My practice is mainly selling charms and potions with magic power, such as gree-gree and voodoo oils. You know, everything from unrequited love to wandering spouses to winning a lawsuit. But my spells and charms are powerful, and they work.
Okay.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Much of a voodoo-ian's work is protecting her clients from the spells of others. I mix special protective gree-gree to be worn in secret. They keep evil spells from working against my clients.
Das hört sich vernünftig an.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
The recipes for voodoo charms have been handed down from master to apprentice for centuries.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I have told you all it is proper for you to know, Mr. Knight.
Das war nicht so sonderlich viel. Ja gut, dann fangen wir mal mit den Voodoo-Morden an.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Why, that has nothing to do with me and my clientele. But I can tell you that you should stay as far from it as possible. There is badness there. Very bad.
Okay.
So you don't think the voodoo aspects of the case are fake?
Fake? Let me tell you about fake. If I get information through the grapevine and make use of it, is that fake? No. That is part of a voodoo-ian's power. If people don't believe, there's not much I can do. But if they do believe, that is a part of my power too. But there are things, monsieur. Things not even a little bit fake, I can tell you. Believe it or not, but stay away from it.
Okay, wir sollen also wegbleiben. Naja, gut.
What do you mean? Do you know something about the case?
I work hard on fine-tuning my spiritual antennae, Monsieur Knight. And I get a clear signal from that direction. Beware.
Ja, dummerweise können wir das wahrscheinlich nicht machen. Fangen wir mal wegen Schlangen. Sie hat ja auch selber eine Schlange. Da kannst du bestimmt einiges drüber sagen.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know. Quite deadly in the wrong hands. I was trained by one of the great voodoo queens to learn how to hypnotize and handle snakes.
Man kann Schlangen hypnotisieren.
Tell me more about snakes.
Oh, I wouldn't want to give away my trade secrets.
Ja gut, dann halt nicht. Dann Cabré Sankor.
Do you have any idea what Cabrice and Call means?
No. No, I don't.
Ja, das ist seltsam. Ich hätte gedacht, dass sie das wissen müsste. Aber wir wissen es ja mittlerweile, was es ist, aber trotzdem.
Do you know anything about Bebe?
I don't know anything about that.
Hm.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh, yes. She was the first of the great voodoo queens.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I saw them used once or twice when I was younger, but you don't see them much anymore. They're too close.
Too close to what?
Just bad karma.
Okay. Kannst du was über das Voodoo-Morde erzählen?
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo houndful?
There are many voodoo churches in Nolans, no?
Yes, but have you heard of a secret voodoo houndful?
Wherever did you hear such a ridiculous story? There is no such thing.
Na, da bin ich nicht so ganz so sicher.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
It is the oldest, darkest heart of voodoo.
Okay.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
There are some things it's better not to know about, Monsieur Knight.
Ja, gut.
Does Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
I don't know anything about that.
Und das müsste sie doch eigentlich auch wissen, so als Voodooine. Naja.
Have you ever heard of Gambala?
I don't know anything about that.
Eigentlich sollte sie auch das wissen. Ich bin nicht so ganz überzeugt, ob sie wirklich weiß, was sie tut.
Give me an example of Grigri.
All right, here's an old one. Take a lodestone and some brimstone to a crossroads at midnight. Light the brimstone with a match. A spirit will come and give you advice in gambling.
Okay.
Give me an example of Grigri.
Here's an old hoodoo, Dr. Grigri. Place a dime under your client's tongue. If the client is under a spell of any kind, the dime will turn black.
Give me an example of Grigri.
To send someone away, take a rotten egg and write that person's name on it 9 times. You can also write on it where you want to send that person to. Take it and throw it against his door at midnight.
Give me an example of Grigri.
Here's a nasty one. To kill someone, get a sock or shoe that belongs to that person. Put graveyard dirt in it and bury it under their front steps.
Does that work?
I don't know. I never tried it.
Give me an example of Grigri.
To ensure the safety of your child, cut a lock of its hair while it is still a baby and keep it with you. The child must have all its hair before it can die.
These are interesting.
They're very old. The Grigri that I prepare is much more powerful, I can assure you. But I don't give out those secrets.
Blöd nur, wenn man dann unter Haarausfall leidet.
Give me an example of Grigri.
To ensure the safety of your child, cut a lock of its hair while it is still a baby.
Das hatten wir doch schon.
These are
They're very
interesting.
old.
Give me an
To ensure the safety.
Okay, da kommt nur noch das. Ja, okay. Da kommt nichts mehr Neues. Dann können wir noch über Grinwald fragen. Ihre Schlange?
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Where did you get Grimwald?
She belonged to a traveling reptile show. She was being terribly mistreated, so I offered to buy her. She's named after a spirit guide I had once. The spirit Grimwald was a very powerful female snake priestess in Egyptian times.
Grimwald doesn't sound Egyptian.
I only know what the spirits tell me, monsieur. I'm sure they know better than we.
Ja. Handling Grimwald?
How did you learn how to handle Grimwald?
I told you, a great voodoo queen taught me. She learned from Marie Laveau herself.
Uh-huh. Fascinating.
Ja. Was ist mit den Schuppen? Können wir da eine haben?
Would you consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
No, I couldn't do that. You might do some gree-gree of your own, no? One must be very careful with such things. Hair clippings, nail parings, and snake scales.
Schade. Anything at all?
Tell me anything at all.
You have to be careful when handling a snake. They're more delicate than they look.
I'll bet.
Ja, das glaube ich auch.
Tell me anything at all.
Many people are afraid of snakes. Isn't that silly?
Totally.
Finde ich jetzt eigentlich nicht so.
Tell me anything at all.
Snakes shed their skins from time to time. You have to be especially careful of them when they're shedding.
I'll keep it in mind. Tell me anything at all.
Grimwald is very responsive to vibration. She doesn't recognize her name, but if I stomp 3 times, she looks right at me.
So, jetzt kannst du mir die Stange mal zeigen.
How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Ja, oder so.
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be swell.
No matter what you see, do not be frightened.
I'll give it my best shot.
Okay, dann zeig mal deinen Schlangentanz. So, und während sie das macht, holen wir uns doch mal die Schlangenschuppen, die Schlangenhaut, die noch im Käfig zurückgeblieben ist.
Gabriel grabs the shed snake skin while Magenta is otherwise occupied.
So, und dann schauen wir uns doch mal den Tanz fertig an.
There. Truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it.
Okay. Schauen wir uns. Ich weiß jetzt gar nicht, ob das hier auch geht.
It's the shed skin from Moonbeam snake.
Dann schauen wir uns die noch mal genauer an.
magnifies the shed skin from Magenta Moonbeam snake. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't match the scales from Lake Pontchartrain.
Okay. Sie passen also nicht.
It's the shed skin. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't.
Das ist doch schon mal gut zu wissen. Kann man die eigentlich jetzt auch irgendwie...
The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It does.
Ja, okay. Dann reden wir noch ein bisschen weiter mit ihr.
Could I ask you a few more questions?
Certainly.
So. Grimwald brauchen wir jetzt nicht mehr zu fragen, aber was ist mit St. John's Eve?
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve. It is the greatest night of the voodoo year. There is always a traditional conclave on St. John's Eve. Most of our voodoo churches these days hold functions in the church hall. But in the old days, they had ceremonies out in the wild. They wore animal masks and had a huge bonfire and dancing. I used to go when I was an apprentice. Sometimes in the swamp, you know, Bayou St. John. Sometimes at the lake, Lake Pontchartrain.
Okay, das war's wohl auch. Nun gut, jetzt können wir ihr noch ein paar Sachen zeigen, wie zum Beispiel das WW oder dieser Armband oder das Bild von dem Mord. Gut, und das würde ich sagen, machen wir in der nächsten Folge. Dann einmal vielen Dank fürs Anschauen, macht's gut und bis zur nächsten Folge dann. Und tschüss!